Back to the village. Go, now.
Nay! I must save them! Save the village!
Save yourself! Run! To shelter! To your father!
I don't know why I'm surprised. Okay, so from what I'm gathering, this new Witcher game is going to be featuring not Geralt of Rivia, but the secondary main character or secondary character Ciri, which is his adopted daughter. And the main point of all of this is that it's not Geralt, so why even do this? In The Witcher 3, you got to play as Ciri for a very short time or for a portion of the story. So we already got that, but I just don't understand why there needs to be a full dedicated game about her. I'm sorry, it's gonna sound like a broken record at this point, but this very thing is a broken record to me. I heard The Witcher 4 was coming out, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. Because even though I didn't finish The Witcher 3 game, I liked it, and I'd be happy to have more of it in my collection. That way I can continue on with the story and just go straight from this game into that one, into The Witcher 4. And what I don't understand, as a woman, okay, it's something that annoys me because I know that a lot of people that are doing this in video games and movies thinks that they're doing it for people like me, like trying to pander to us, like guys, look, we're trying to be inclusive so women feel like they're included too. I don't want this. Geralt has always been the star of The Witchers. Furthermore, they concluded Geralt of Rivia's story in the trilogy of The Witcher with The Witcher 3 game, so as much as people like this character, Ciri, I feel like most of us who fell in love with The Witcher, and maybe I'm just speaking for myself, fell in love with it primarily to follow Geralt of Rivia's story. And the thing that's really interesting to me, because people think, oh, it's not a big deal, it is what it is, but they're doing it with every single franchise that has a male lead. I'm sorry, particularly a pale-skinned male lead. Let's just be honest and say what it is. If anybody else were to do this with a franchise that had a female lead in it, doesn't matter what color they're, as long as they're female, and they had a female in it, and changed it to a male, which never happens, by the way, people would be upset. Not regular gamers, but, the people who don't play video games would be very upset with this. And you have to wonder, what is the point? Why not just make a new franchise? Right? If you already have someone who is the face of the franchise, why do they always find it necessary to replace them with their daughters or some grandchild or niece or some female character that was already playable in the game before? And they're like, well, people like this, so let's make an entire game out of this. And now that his story is over, let's replace it now with the female version instead of making a completely different franchise or having it set in the same universe, but a completely different character disconnected from the other characters. It doesn't feel like, oh, his daughter's replacing him, because that's so played out and old in my opinion. That's like changing Mario from Super Mario, and instead of it being the Super Mario Brothers, you change it now. It's still called the Super Mario Brothers, but now it's going to be Peach and Daisy for all the other franchises now, which makes absolutely no sense to me. Notice that Peach had her own game. Mario and Luigi had their own games. Luigi had his own game. We had Wario. We had all of that. And it was not a problem. Nobody cared. Everybody still embraced Peach. It was all good. It was all cool. But now this is what we're doing. You take franchises and you're like, I'm not saying it's not going to be a great game, but I'm not interested in playing it because on principle, I'm just tired of seeing this. To be honest, I like Geralt. I like The Witcher for Geralt. His little adopted daughter with Yennefer was just a plot point for his story. Specifically, it's not that her story wasn't important, but it wasn't something that for me required an entire franchise built around her. Just in my opinion. Does she have an amazing story? Maybe so. But because so many franchises have been doing this, it just feels like they did this just for the sake of making her a woman. Like, oh, it's an actual character in the lore. Which I don't even know if it follows lore, but I can bet if you dig deep enough, there's some lore breaking stuff in there. They always have to break the lore for it to accommodate the new female character or their attempt at trying to be inclusive. And I'm not saying you can't do stuff to change the lore. I mean, if you're following a franchise that has been around for a long time, I think you should stay faithful to the source material while adding upon those things that haven't been explored. But at the same time, if you're going to deviate very far from the source material, which I don't know for certain if they did, but I just have a feeling they did. I have a feeling. The reason why I'm making this video now without having done like deep research into it is because I wanted to react to the trailer with my honest feelings about seeing it first because I feel like if you go in and you start listening to a whole bunch of what other people are saying, it taints your perspective and you're like, oh, well, because they're saying that, now I'm going to agree with them. No, this is my honest reaction after having seen the trailer, right after seeing it. Well, not right after. I saw it last night, decided to make a video on it today about my feelings about it, saw the trailer again, and that's just how I feel. It might be a great game, but I'm just tired. Like, I'm tired of franchises thinking that they need to replace the male characters for reasons that nobody else cares about. I know that there are integral female characters in the Witcher series, obviously, but Geralt of Rivia has been the face of The Witcher for so long. It's so widely established that now suddenly just placing Ciri as the new Witcher just feels like a cash grab to me, even if that was one of the implications of the endings, a path that she was going to follow for her story, where it was going. You know, it just feels like they're doing it just for the sake of the creators making a girl version of Geralt. And this is not something new that's happened. They've done this with Marvel. If you look back at like some of the Marvel characters, like She-Hulk and stuff, I think there was a time, maybe it was the 80s or 50s, I'm not sure, but some time ago, they had this phase where they were like, let's make female versions of the superheroes, and they just went overboard. I don't know if those worked out. I mean, I guess some of them did. People, apparently, there's a fan base for She-Hulk, not the modern one, but yeah, now the way they're doing it now, the characters are either a parody of the male characters, they're cosplaying as the male characters, doing exactly what the male characters do, or they're insufferable and shells of the former glory of the characters that came before them. And to me, it's a disservice to women. I may be pissing off some people. People might think I'm going too deep with it, but I'm just being honest. I'm kind of tired of seeing that. I'm tired of seeing the constant shallow inundation of female characters just placed in games for the sake of them being female or to replace male game characters that have been established in well-known franchises for long. I'm just tired. If you can't tell from my voice, I'm freaking tired. It's boring to me. As soon as I saw that, I was like, oh boy. I mean, not interested. And why do they keep taking this scene from Alien and redoing it and reposting it everywhere? It comes across so freaking cringy.
I remember!
The people who have made video games this pandering session of stroking some imaginary person's back, they've ruined gaming for me when it comes to certain female characters. And the thing is, you can still have female characters. I was playing Marvel Rivals. Marvel Rivals is actually a pretty good game. Now, I suck at it. I just started it, and I was like, oh, this is great. It looks amazing. It's fun to play. Very hard to play with the Xbox controller, so I still had to tweak it a little bit to up the sensitivity so that I could move because I wasn't reacting enough, and I'm just sitting there. My teammates were trying to hang on to me and be like, it's okay, we've got you, girl. And I'm just sitting there dying. Kind of fun, but it's a fun game, and the characters are attractive and cute. And I love these types of games where you can play as female characters. See, here I am changing the sensitivities. But yeah, Namor is actually my favorite character to play right now. And it would be very annoying if they're like, you know what? Namor is pretty popular with people now. So why don't we just like change him into a female version of Namor and take out Namor? I know it sounds ridiculous, but that's what it feels like they're doing with The Witcher. And that's why I'm just like, nah, I'm good. I think the real question is, what goes on in these board meetings where they're trying to come up with ways to be more creative with these games? I feel like they're just creatively bankrupt. We've all used that phrase over and over again. And it's true though. Because if their only thing is, this is really popular, let's make a live action version of it. This character is really popular, let's chop off the dick and just make him a woman character and pretend it's a new story. It makes you wonder, like, okay, well, when does this stop? Are you actually going to give us something good? And not only that, she's freaking disgusting looking. Geralt was actually attractive. I mean, even if we're not talking about Henry Cavill here, the actual character is actually a nice person to look at. The women were nice to look at. He was nice to look at. He's got a great body. His face, even though it's all scarred up and it's rough, it kind of adds to the allure of this character. Ciri didn't even initially look bad. Honestly, she looked pretty in The Witcher 3, so it's not like they didn't have something to work with. Based on the footage that we're seeing in The Witcher 4, She looks, ugh. She looks like someone's grandmother, like a werewolf person in a winter cosplay. I know that transformations take place and whatnot, but she's not even nice to look at. And you may be wondering, well, why does that matter? Why does she need to be nice to look at? Because if you're gonna be playing as a character and watching the cutscenes, I want her to look hot. Like, is you're gonna give us a female character? She needs to not look like a meth addicted version of Geralt. It's just, I don't know, dude. I don't know. Maybe the game, like I said, again, as I conclude this because this video is long enough, maybe the game will be great and whatever, but this just, for me personally, doesn't make me very interested. Maybe if I knew the lore wholly in and out, I'd be excited to see this character and be like, oh my god, it's about time. Yay, we're getting Ciri or whatever her name is. Yes, let's do it. But when I got to know The Witcher, like, I barely started the franchise. And I fell in love with Geralt. Henry Cavill also helped with that. And now it's like I want to see more of this world and follow him. And now in the middle of it, they're like, oh, let's change Geralt to the female character because she's gonna follow in his footsteps and whatever. I hope people enjoy this though. I personally have other games. I'm still waiting for Threads of Time. At least with these games, you have the female and male characters that are strong. They're attractive looking. Like, I mean, there's nothing there that should offend people unless they're very depressed with their lives. And it's a new concept. Look, it's a male character and a female character. The world is attractive. The concept is, Threads of Time is exactly the kind of thing that is like, wow, this is what I'm looking for. Some creativity, something different. Look at this. There's a female character. I don't mind that at all. It's not that I hate female characters per se. It's just I'm tired of the Western version of what they've been doing with female characters, pretending as though they're doing something completely new that hasn't been done before. Like they're the social justice warriors of giving people like women a voice, but it's been done already. That's been done, and they've done it better. You look at games and entertainment years and years ago, they do it a lot better than what they're doing now. I bet you in this freaking game, in Threads of Time, you're gonna have characters that have depth, and it doesn't just feel like they're just making them characters for the sake of just making them female characters. We got a dude here that looks just as badass as the women. That's just my honest opinion. I'm sorry if I sound negative. I'm not trying to undermine anybody else's experience or what they like. You like what you like. You don't like what you don't like. I understand. For me personally, I'm just tired. I like male characters. I like female characters too, but I prefer male characters, especially in gaming. The only time I actually will play female characters more so is if the story is really, really good. Or if it's a fighting game or a PvP game or what have you. Or if the story is really good, but honestly, I prefer male characters. You know how guys like to look at very attractive female characters? I like to look at attractive male characters. I like a story following along of attractive male characters. I mean, people talk about women and how when it comes to the sex portion of the entertainment industry, they're saying sex sells, but it usually is more so geared towards men. We've all said that. Like, you look at freaking The Hub and whatever, most of that's geared towards men, and the only time women can get really something out of it in terms of specific things they search for is if they go to the gay version. It's like, or you know, everyone has different likes or whatever. I don't know why we're talking about this, why I'm talking about this. But the point of the matter is, people have complained for a long time that, oh my god, they're just appealing to the male gaze. But okay, then what about straight women then? If that's the case, and you really believe that the male gaze is an issue, and there's nothing wrong with the female gaze, then why are you also taking away the female gaze from us having hot male characters? Like, you know what, I know a game that I really, really want that I haven't gotten yet, but I want it because, damn, I know the stories are usually good, and there's a male character that's hot, and it's an actual male character. Final Fantasy 16. Yes. Final Fantasy games, or East Asian-y games, they still have strong female characters, but they're not afraid of having male characters or male main characters. It's just that oftentimes it just feels forced now, like they're trying to make a point rather than staying true to the spirit of the story, the character that the people loved and fell in love with in the first place. But when the game comes out, and we can also judge the gameplay as is, doesn't mean it's going to make it a bad game per se, That's just my personal take, like I've said ad nauseum. But anyway, what do you guys think about this? Are you excited for The Witcher 4? What makes you like this character? What makes you dislike this character? And if I'm wrong, then whatever. I own up to that. Let me know your thoughts.